There's a saying here in Virginia, if you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes. That is actually pretty true in FPV as well. It seems that the latest drama always rolls around and someone is always in the hot seat. It came to my attention though that my good friend Derek Brown was kind of under fire. So I started looking around, I read his post, I read Robert Pry's post, and to sum things up, it turns out that my friend, my buddy, a guy that I've interviewed, Derek Brown, is now in the hot seat. And the reason he's in the hot seat, in planning for 2019 during the 2018 year, Derek and the team that plans the West Coast Throwdown, including Robert Pry's, had wanted to reserve a large section of the campground that it takes place at so that people would be able to come in and have a place to camp. Kind of secure an area where everybody would be together. Unfortunately, there was a shortage of funds, and through different things that happened, Robert decided, and wholeheartedly, to donate $1,500 to the cause and also loan $4,500. Now, there's no paperwork, there's no trail. It was a handshake. And, for me, a handshake is a handshake, right? And I think for Derek and for Robert, a handshake is a handshake. The money was used to secure the campground. Shortly thereafter, and this is as I understand it, so I might not have the timeline right, IDRLC came in and said that they would like to sponsor the event for $10,000, $5,000 of which would go to winners and $5,000 of which would go to the organization. So the decision was made that with the money that was left in the account, they would kind of plus up the event. They would make it better and bigger. And Robert would be repaid his loan of $4,500 from the money that IDRLC had promised to the West Coast Throwdown. So the West Coast Throwdown went down and IDRLC paid out the $5,000 to the winner, but they apparently did not pay out the extra $5,000 to the West Coast Throwdown. This left Derek and his other partner in a bind because now they're on the hook for $4,500, which they owe Robert. And unfortunately, there's really just no paperwork trail to follow. As I understand it, Derek spent a lot of time chasing down IDRLC, and in the past day or so, Robert, who legitimately has a complaint that he's out $4,500, went public with the entire thing. I don't know Robert, and I've never actually spoken to him, but he had been a big member of the West Coast Throwdown for quite a while, so I have to assume that at the very least he has good ideas and good intentions. And I don't think that you donate $1,500 and an unsecured loan without good intentions. I do know Derek. Derek has proven to be, to me, an honest person. If you look at his first interview, he's very, very open and honest about the things that he has struggled with. In our second interview, which probably quite a few of you saw, he made some pretty bold claims about a former employer. It turns out that those claims were true. The former employer himself corroborated them, and I also had independent corroboration from other people. In two instances here, we've seen Derek be honest and open about things that were pretty intense, and I'll link both of those below. My takeaway from this is that I believe that Derek is an honest person, and I like to consider Derek a friend. On the other hand, I kind of get Robert's standpoint, right? Like, there was a handshake, and he was promised repayment of $4,500. The real problem here is that IDRLC made the promise that they would pay, and that's what Derek and Robert both were banking on. I think it's safe that you could question whether or not that loan, the security of it based on a promise from another company, probably wasn't the wisest decision. And I think that Robert and Derek would both agree with that. The end result is that now their dirty laundry is aired, and IDRLC, for better or worse, has been hung out to dry. And quite frankly, if they did make the promise and that's what everybody was banking on, then they're kind of the bad guys here. It's an unfortunate situation. And Derek, as Derek does, has owned up to it publicly now. Let me read something to you that he wrote, and I think that it'll be interesting. So Derek wrote, "However, in the end, I must agree that I am personally ultimately to blame for allowing IDRLC to drag me on this long, rather than begin working on another solution for Robert. At no time have we ever discussed at length what would happen if IDRLC didn't pay up. but I am completely on board with discussing a new plan. You know, at the end of the day, Derek's in an unsavory position. He's been called out. He's being held responsible, as he should be. He is more than willing to try to figure it out. Unfortunately, IDRLC did not meet their end of their promise, and that's kind of where the problem comes from. All this to say, I understand Robert's position. I also understand Derek's position, and Derek is more than willing to take responsibility for it, which is, you know, that's who Derek is. You know, Derek is open and honest, and Robert also comments on the fact that some harsh words were exchanged and that things, you know, got pretty nasty ultimately. That's unfortunate. I know that Robert probably brought quite a bit to the West Coast Throwdown. He's no longer part of it. I would love to see IDRLC step up to the plate and to complete the promise that they made. Whether or not they do rests on the integrity of that organization in and of itself. And I don't know them. I've never met them. I've never interacted with them. So I really don't know what that integrity is, and I don't know what it's like. I do know that in my discussions with Derek that he is a man that has a lot of integrity. He's also a man. He's not perfect. And I'm sure that Robert also has a lot of integrity, and he's also a man, and he's not imperfect. And there's a lot at stake. So things probably got heated. All that to say is that, you know, it just sucks, right? Derek's a good guy. I like Derek. I hate seeing him dragged through the mud. I understand Robert's position. He's in a sucky situation too. Given the economic times, everything, I get it, guys. I get it. And I'm 100% sure that there is plenty that I don't know about this in the background. It is an unfortunate situation. I'd like to end on a bit of a light note. Robin Moore, who commented on Robert Pry's post, basically said, hey, I don't understand American. Can somebody give this to me in English? Emily Ciano, hope I got your name right, responded graciously to Robin and said this: Robin Moore, well, it's balls up. It seems like IDRLC has been mugging off Derek, who is knackered from fighting with them for the pounds they promised and never paid. He owes his former mate, Rob, $3,593.36 GBP, which I believe stands for Great British Pounds. I don't know. And can't pay up. Nothing was in contract because it was all sorted verbally. It's a bloody dodgy situation. And quite frankly, I think Emily has it right. It's a bloody dodgy situation. I hope that there's something that can be worked out. It is unfortunate on both sides. I'd love to see IDRLC step up to the plate. You know, they're at this point, their name's being dragged through it too. And hey, guys, if you're watching this, step up to the plate. Do the right thing. So at the end of the day, we got two guys that are critical to the FPV community, that have given a lot, that put on an event that is loved by a lot, loved by many. And they're both kind of screwed right now. So that's my take, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.